Hi everyone, I'm Stacey Taubman, founder and CEO of Rise Collaborative. Welcome to On the Rise TV, where we feature incredible women and their story. I can't wait for you to hear from our guest today, Liz, who I've learned so much from and I really look up to. Liz Giorgi is a media entrepreneur and Emmy Award winner who is working to challenge the norms of business and society. She is currently the CEO and co-founder of Soona, a same-day photo and video service that helps brands get professional and custom content. After raising millions of dollars through venture capital, Liz is a passionate advocate for women working to create gender equity in venture financing for startups. Well, hi, Liz. It's been too long.
Hi, Stacey. I'm so glad to be here.
It's good to see you again, and I'm excited to talk about all the great things you've been up to. 2019 was a big year for you.
It was a big year, a pretty transformative year, actually.
Yeah. You have started so many businesses and are just killing it, and I'm excited to talk about it. But before, I always like to back it on up to good old high school. Since here at Rise, we are creating a pipeline for success and really helping young women to dream and achieve big.
I'm actually ultimately really proud of my 16-year-old self. She had a line of sight of leadership. She had a line of sight of telling stories. And I think it led me to what I'm doing now, which is talking to people even more about the importance of telling your story, which is the biggest thing you can do to help your business when you decide to start one.
And so you were interested in journalism from a very young age. Is that what you pursued?
It is. I got my bachelor's in journalism. I went to broadcast school at the University of Minnesota. Once I got to school, I very quickly realized that as much as I could do the on-camera thing, it wasn't necessarily what I loved to do. I actually far preferred my technical classes. My favorite classes were my editing classes. I loved sorting through the footage, binning and logging, figuring out, what were the things that I wanted to hold on to and tell the story. And I saw that you could shape the story the most in that edit. And so actually when I left school, I really wasn't looking for a job on camera. I started looking for jobs on the backside of production.
Interesting.
And I'm really, honestly, I had so many great professors, but probably the thing that was the most life-altering about my collegiate experience was how unremarkable I really was.
Say more about that.
I was not the kid who was the president of all the clubs, and I was not, trying to run anything. I honestly had to work really hard to be able to afford to go to school there. So I just kind of did what I needed to do to get through it. And
was it that you weren't striving for those things, or you were just so focused on just survival?
I think I was just so focused on survival. I didn't, I didn't come from a family of means. I had no money. My parents, God bless them, I sort of am grateful in retrospect. They were like, you're on your own now, good luck paying your rent and everything else.
And at the time that was probably really stressful.
It was very stressful. And so I didn't really feel like I had the freedom to be sort of indulging in those things. And so I had 3 jobs. I would teach swimming lessons in the morning. I would then go work at the student newspaper, writing all day long. And then at nighttime I'd work at Macy's. Nice. And it was chaos, and it was so hard, but I don't know, it shaped me in a way that really today speaks to the level of hustle that I'm willing to tolerate.
I was going to say, in some ways your schedule probably isn't that different.
It's not that different. Not teaching
maybe not be at Macy's either.
Yeah. But Macy's barely exists anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And so you were able to do that and get through college, and it was after college that you were freed up to have more ambition and to really go after your dreams, or when did that shift? Because now having 2 highly successful companies and raising millions of dollars, that's quite a shift.
Graduating from college, I took probably 7 freelance jobs in a row, bouncing around all over this country, working on random projects. I worked on everything from a documentary about cheerleading to working for a news station. I mean, I had to hustle to make it work and to stay in production. The only thing I knew for sure was that I wanted to stay in production.
Sure.
And I got really lucky because in 2009, I was working on some programming for PBS and kind of stumbled upon YouTube at the same time. And so I, again, being somebody that other people can count on, I had been somebody that this executive producer could count on again and again and again, gave me an opportunity to do some editing work. And I sort of pitched them and said, hey, I think YouTube is going to be really important for all production in the future. I'm not even gonna ask you to pay me to do this. I'm just wondering if you would be okay with me recutting some of our programming, and especially the stuff that is behind the scenes or the cutting room floor material, if you'd be okay with us creating some channels and putting it on YouTube and just see what happens.
Yeah, because that was before the popularity of YouTube.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it was crazy. It was the only place where you could put video, really, also. So, and that changed my life because that work, one of the YouTube videos that I cut and put online ended up winning an Emmy. Like that decision of just saying, hey, I see an opportunity. I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for an opportunity. It totally shifted everything from being this like hustler who couldn't figure out what to do to being a 24-year-old girl with an Emmy award who suddenly had all this clout.
And still felt like the same.
And still felt like the same person who was like teaching swimming lessons to make ends meet, you know? Like it was just a totally insane life situation.
What gave you the courage to ask for that opportunity, or what helped you to see that opportunity? Because I think that's the thing people miss. They hear a story like what you just shared, and they're like, how do I even come up with something like that?
I had this boss, and this is like a true testament to incredible leadership. When I was like a nobody, right, she would always say to me, there is no such thing as a question that doesn't deserve answering. She said, you know, one of the things I really like about you is that you hustle really hard, but you're not asking us for anything. She said, just ask us for something, and the worst we're gonna say is no, so what do you have to lose? And I was like, oh, what do I have to lose? Like, there was nothing to lose, right? Like, the show was over, we were all gonna move on. Like, there really wasn't anything to lose. So
it sounds like that boss really helped you to have that courage.
She was incredible. She, I think, had a lot of experiences where people maybe didn't listen to her ideas and saw it as her responsibility to help other young people find ways to pitch their ideas. Because in production, so much of surviving is just coming up with ideas that other people want to work on, other people want to be a part of. The next, and if you don't have that like willingness to be shot down a lot, you're never going to get a yes.
Yeah, and I think that's beyond production.
Totally.
Right? I think that's no matter what you choose to do. So you're 24, 26?
Well, at this point now, I'm 26, yes.
Emmy Award winning, 26. How do you figure out what's next? Because I feel like I think sometimes people reach a certain level of success and they feel like they can't go back to beginner because there's more on the line.
Yeah, I got contacted by an advertising agency executive who said, I actually think YouTube might be a really important thing for our customers. We'd love to meet you and talk about maybe making a shift into working in advertising.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I meet with them, and immediately I was blown away by how much money they had. It was like coming from a world where people don't make a lot of money to, you know, high-rise buildings and corner offices with everything glass and massive budgets. And it was a totally different environment than what I had been in before. And I would be lying if I didn't say it didn't seem very exciting. So I had some meetings with this agency, and they've since been purchased and are doing other things. But John, who was the owner, he kind of convinced me he's like, I really believe you can do this. I think you would be great as a digital art director here. Like, let's just try it and see what happens. And it was an incredible opportunity. I was working with the Mayo Clinic. I was working with the NFL. I was on a totally different playing field of budgets, and everything about it was new and exciting, and also at the same time, a ton of pressure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because suddenly you're talking about $1 million productions instead of, you know, just trying to get this shot done at the San Antonio Convention Center. You know, like
so imposter syndrome was kicking in.
Yeah, on some level, I think. And I only lasted for 2 years.
Sure.
What happened?
It'd be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but more than anything, I mean, what an incredible opportunity to learn how to work with clients, how to pitch people, how to take your ideas and get other people excited about those ideas, how to bring together vendors and partners and all kinds of other people around a project or an idea. I often refer to it as like my mini boot camp for getting the skills that I needed to be the salesperson that I ultimately had to become to start a business.
Well, it's played out well. You have not one, but two companies.
I do.
And then it sounds like 2019 was a big year for you.
2019 was a pretty transformational year for me. It was a scary year in a lot of ways. Quit that job, took all my savings, went to the bank, got a credit card, and bought all the equipment I needed to produce our first couple ads. And my idea was, I'm gonna make an ad for a nonprofit that could never afford an ad. But the one caveat I had in all of it was I had to write it and art direct it. So they couldn't just tell me what they wanted.
Right.
The deal was like we had to collaborate so that I knew that it would be successful. So that first video was called Song of Our Warming Planet. It was for the Institute on the Environment, and it was a video about this young man who had taken NASA's global temperature data and converted it to music.
Oh, wow.
And then he played that song on a cello, and the whole point of this video was that by the year 2020, this was
and here we are.
Here we are. The song would be with outside the range of human hearing. We would no longer be able to hear that note of music. And it was really powerful and really eerie and super weird. And like, it wasn't the most high production value thing that the world had ever seen, but
Sure.
It was something that was representative of this idea that videos on the web didn't have to be as sexy as TV commercials.
Or as buttoned up, maybe?
As buttoned up, yeah. They could be much more focused on interesting fringe ideas. And that video went bonkers. It was on the Today Show. We got covered on the New York Times. I mean, it was everywhere. And it was the right bet because that video helped me then get in the door with so many other customers. And I don't want to say the rest is history because there's a lot more work. But that one decision.
Well, and that to me, actually, I'm hearing too. It was the first decision you convinced your boss to be able to put the YouTube video together.
Yeah.
And then you kind of did the same thing a second time.
Yeah.
Just it looks different, right? But you've taken bets on yourself way ahead of the curve when people couldn't quite see what you could see.
It seems to be the story of my life that I just kind of go, okay, I think this could be a thing. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. And if it's okay if I'm wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. That is something that I think great entrepreneurs all have in common.
For the first time we met, you were sharing about raising capital, and raising capital for me has always been kind of terrifying and, a journey. And when I talked to you and the way in which you spoke to your investors and the confidence you brought to the table, that was the part that I was like, if I could just spend more time with you, I would approach things in a different way. Just because you believe in yourself so much, and not to say that you wouldn't have fear or doubt, but just to say that you're okay if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's a very kind compliment. And I remember that conversation also because I think it is representative of something that now in my life gives me so much satisfaction, which is seeing how other women approach problems and how other women solve problems. To me, that's so inspirational. And you've solved problems in your very unique and powerful way that has brought us to this place, right?
Sure.
And I've solved problems in my unique way, and that has brought me to my place. And I think celebrating some of the more complicated ways that women have to solve problems because of the fact that we aren't always getting the vote of confidence from outside forces.
Sure.
We don't have, at least I did not have that female mentor who was an entrepreneur who could tell me how to do all these things.
Right.
I had to face every single challenge that came my way and try some things and fail at a lot of things.
But it has paid off because in 2019, you raised quite a bit of money. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, Soona is same-day photo and video delivered in studio stores where people can come in and create professional photo and video for really affordable prices.
And it's beautiful. The videos and photos, I'm blown away.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We're really excited. So I raised about $5.2 million this year for that business. And it's going to allow us to catalyze the growth we've already seen, open up more cities in 2020, continue to build our online product. We have a ship and shoot product where product companies can actually ship to our warehouse and they can attend a virtual shoot online and see all the photo and video being created in real time. It's so fun. But yeah, I mean, I literally turned to my co-founder, Haley, a couple of weeks ago and I was like, how in the world did all of this get done? Because truth be told, there's a part of me that just feels so lucky that I have surrounded myself with other humans who, one, get the vision, two, are bought into the vision, and three, before when I had this harebrained idea to create a video about the planet, I was by myself.
Sure.
Now I have all these other people around me who are part of that journey with me, and honestly, that's the part that I love the most. It's getting to build this with other people who I think are so talented and so brilliant and make the ideas better.
Now, there's stats around women and raising capital.
Yeah, it's abysmal.
I feel like it's 2.8% of all venture capital goes to women-owned companies.
So there's two statistics that keep me up at night. One of them is that only 2.8% of venture capital will go to female-founded companies. The other is that less than 1% of companies founded by women will ever exceed $1 million in annual revenue. That. So I live in this tiny overlap of this Venn diagram. And my co-founder and I talk a lot about how so much of the world is about stories. And how young girls are out there in the world trying to live their dreams, trying to achieve their aspirations. And this is the kind of data that we have to work with. This is not powerfully helpful data. This is really negative data.
Yeah. And you can't be what you can't see.
And you can't be what you can't see. And not only that, but women have so much to offer. Our businesses are innovative. They bring compassion and humanity to the fore. I feel that folks who work for female-founded companies report higher satisfaction with their overall treatment as employees. There's so much that women offer.
And they make more money. There's stats to show that women-owned companies make money.
They make money.
Quite a bit.
They're much more successful at servicing their customers. There's so many pieces of data that aren't just, well, here's a number, but that are about the human aspects of work and the human aspects of our communal effort to create value that I want us to really be conscious in my lifetime of broadening those circles and making it possible for more women to enter those circles and do so powerfully in a meaningful way that is in line with their vision and their values.
Yeah, and I think by what you're doing and what we're doing, getting more of those stories out there.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have thought I could do any of this if I hadn't met somebody who had done something similar, being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that exposure and being around amazing women that you can see a little bit of yourself in gives you the courage to go after it.
Well, and you telling other people the truth of your story is so powerful for other folks to start to think about what are the limits that I've placed on my aspirations. Did I artificially cap myself? At
probably
a place, that where there's more potential for me if I'm willing to dream a little bigger. I often say to my employees, nobody's going to dream a bigger dream for you than you. It's amazing watching people realize that they dream small.
For sure.
And starting to unlock what that means now. Okay, I know that. What actions can I take to get a little bit bigger dream for myself?
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important to surround yourself with other big dreamers.
Yeah.
And that's why we live by the quote, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yes.
And so I'm curious, who's someone in your 5?
Well, the person that's in my 5 all day, every day is my co-founder, Haley. She's our chief creative officer at Soona. But we've worked together for 4 years now, but we work together at both of my companies. And I call her my creative soulmate. She and I have a really interesting and easy collaboration where all the places where she's not creatively strong, I am, and all the places where I'm not creatively strong, she is. Yeah. And it really helps us. I think it shows in our product. I think it shows in our brand. I think it shows in our customer experience. And the other part of Haley that I admire so much is, Haley is one of the most loyal people I've ever met. And when you're in business and you have to make hard decisions
all day long,
and sometimes make decisions that people aren't going to like, having somebody who has your back and will consistently say, I'm there for you and I trust you, that will fundamentally change how much power you can bring to your business and your life.
Well, I love hearing about Haley. I have my own work wife that keeps me going, and I feel like I could talk to you all day long.
I could do the same. This was great.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and I know there's been valuable lessons for so many people, so I enjoyed it.
Thank you for doing this, and I can't wait to do it again, maybe at your next Rise workspace or at the next Soona.
Yeah.